Hello and welcome back to another episode of An Abundance of Naught. It is March the 28th. I'm Garrett. That's Brad.
It is March the 25th.
It is the 25th. Shut up.
Getting a little ahead of yourself. I know you want end of
I-
fiscal year to get here, but
Well, that and Friday and just, actually
Yeah,
28th
yeah.
Saturday, but who's counting? I don't even, whatever. What day is it? I
whatever.
don't know.
It's a day.
What is that?
How you doing?
I'm very, very warm and I'm eating a popsicle right now. And it's delicious.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that.
it's very tasty. Wade is also eating one, which is why he hasn't said a damn word yet.
Well, you didn't even introduce me.
Well, just chime
Screw
in.
you.
Gee, well, clearly the intro was totally screwed
Yeah.
from the date, so just bypass it.
By the way,
Yeah.
screw you, it is my Friday. Ha!
Oh, Wade's got a
Nice.
3-day weekend coming up. What a jerk.
Yeah, so next time just cut in. Wait, just don't even worry about it. Just
All
I
right.
think after 2 years you would have figured that out by now.
just cut him off and go.
Some people have a slower learning curve than others. It's fine. We don't judge
Much.
much.
I go from cutting in to cutting him.
Ooh.
That's just hurtful. And it hurts
Not
too.
yet, but it will.
So how you guys doing?
Doing well.
Yeah?
Staying busy. Absolutely. Had a couple long days recently, but not too bad.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of a road trip instead of the airways this time.
Yeah. Yep. Saved the company a little bit of money and got to bring the family along. So win-win all around.
Yeah, it's easy when the kids are homeschooled.
It is.
They're
It's a
always
wonderful
available.
thing. And my beautiful wife is very talented at being able to make a school out of stuff that, the kids don't think of as school.
What, plywood?
Ah,
No, not plywood. Baseball bats, you will learn. No,
That's
you
a
know,
rule. That's
just-
a yardstick. Whack.
yeah. But no, being able to find things in whatever area we end up and making school lessons out of it. So it's awesome.
aha.
Wonderful, wonderful opportunities.
These boys are called waves. They happen at the ocean.
Yeah.
This is poison ivy. Jump in it, see how it
See what
feels.
happens.
Gotta love hands-on science.
Learn by doing. Ah, that'd be funny and mean, which would
And
make it
very
funnier.
mean.
Well, how do you think
Which
we learned,
fits you very well.
Uh-huh.
How do you think we learned what hot was? It was like, here, touch this.
You only did it once, though, didn't you?
I preferred my my alcohol induction. Here, taste this. This will be funny. Oh, that's actually really good. Can I have some more? Oops.
And you haven't stopped since.
No, I have not.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was not bad. Was not very productive either. My daughter had a mock birthday party as her birthday falls right in the middle of the good old glorious Girl Scout cookie sales. So
This was a practice run?
This was a post run.
Oh,
and did
okay.
a party to get her friends together, knowing that they'd all be available. And we did kind of a roller rink kind of throwback party. She likes Doctor Who. I haven't really gotten into it, but kind of the throwback
Shame
back
on you.
in time. Leave me alone.
I think I've seen like one or two
I'm
episodes.
busy.
Shame on you both.
So we went up to a roller rink and she had a lot of fun. So
Good
that
for
was
her. I'm
most
glad.
of Saturday. Sunday, I don't remember much of Sunday. We ran some errands, washed the cars. That was about it.
He was busy in a domestic sense.
Yeah. Not a lot of home improvement stuff this weekend, though. We kind of took a little bit of a break on that, but that is going to step up once again. So it will be what it is.
We had a sports expo in town on Saturday, so we went and visited that. Got to try out a whole bunch of different sports. The usual ones, soccer and baseball, and
Was this the Y or something, or like more of a pseudo convention?
no, it was a pseudo convention.
Okay.
Just the different sports organizations in town kind of got together and try out different things, and
Oh, okay.
it
that's
was advertising. Come join our different sports clubs, and it was a good time though. You got to
Sure.
try out, like I said, the normal stuff, the slightly less normal stuff like jump rope, and I got to meet up with some guys in town that have a cricket club.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I got to get in the batting cage and smack a few cricket balls around. That was a lot of fun. And then they had some really not so normal mainstream sports like parkour and pole dancing,
Interesting.
bubble soccer. Yeah.
What about lacrosse? They have anything?
No, they didn't have anything for lacrosse.
That's a little surprising.
Yeah.
I've always been curious about lacrosse because some high schools make a really big deal about it, but it seems like it ends there.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen any.
There's nothing really serious.
Yeah, there's no long-term career-based, or if it is, it's really a niche type of market.
Yep.
There's no major advertising or anything like that with it. But so I've always been always scratched my head at people that dedicate a lot of high school days into lacrosse, knowing that it's probably ends
There's nowhere
right
to
about
go with
there.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The other thing this weekend is indoor soccer season started.
Oh, okay.
So the kids are back in soccer and we are back coaching.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I've only been able to participate in indoor soccer a couple times, and it's a different world from the field stuff.
Yeah, it is a very different world. There, with a few exceptions, there's no out of bounds. So
Yep, exactly.
you can bank the soccer ball off the walls or off
Yep.
the back behind the goal, kind of like hockey. You can take it back behind the goal. They
Yeah.
don't like it too much, but it's not outside the rules.
It's not illegal. Yeah, I used to when I was younger, I used to do baseball, and one of the batting cages we went to had an indoor soccer field, so that was always
Sure.
And because you were there for baseball and not the soccer, it always seemed like this really alluring thing that you weren't participating in. You know,
Sure.
Forbidden zone.
Yeah, it's kind of Well, you're not here for that, so you can just sit and watch. Oh,
How come they get to?
yeah, exactly.
I want to do that.
Yeah, Mom, please.
Yeah.
Wade, what about you? You're being very quiet over there, enjoying your banana popsicle.
Yeah, it's very hot in here. Very still domestic sense. God, I can't remember what I did.
Well, Wade, did you have to work both days? No, Saturday you were with us at the party.
Yep.
And some of our running around, and then Sunday you worked.
Yep. It's kind of funny is that now that I have a 3-day weekend,
Mm-hmm.
I've actually worked more than I would have for a original schedule.
Standard week, because the hours that you picked up were more than the hours you would have had.
Correct.
But you're making more now, right?
Yes.
That's a good thing.
Yep. And hopefully we can develop some sort of a game plan, more or less for both of us, career-wise, that can offer some good learning and expansion opportunities.
Always a good thing.
That's right. Put some of the things that Wade's been able to accomplish lately into more practical use than just a piece of paper. So that's a goal. But
Cool.
We'll just kind of see how it goes. I don't know if this is premature or not, but do you know your schedule for next week? Are you going to be in the area?
Ooh.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Aw.
Still up in the air.
Still up in the air, but looking less and less likely.
Oh, really?
Yep. No, I did speak with my boss. We spoke today, actually, and while it would be nice, I don't think the rest of the schedule is going to cooperate. So,
Understood. Well, that's a bummer. We're hoping to do a all three in one room podcast finally, but c'est la
You're
vie.
trying that for 2 years?
Yeah,
yeah, pretty much.
it's pretty sad. All right,
say
well,
that we're trying for that, and it will never happen.
I know.
Wait,
Doesn't make us stop hoping though.
we're not trying
Sure.
for that.
Yeah,
Thank
no, we
you.
don't want that.
Thank you,
It's
Wade.
bad. No,
Was-
no.
We
Wasn't
have
that-
given up hope.
How
Wasn't
dare-
that one of our things that, like, as soon as we tried not to do it, it happened?
That's kind of a thing for life, really. As soon
Yeah.
as you stop waiting for somebody, they show up. As soon as you it's what's the saying? A watched pot never boils.
Yep.
All
I've never
kind of-
heard that before.
Never heard that before.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
I've
all
worked in
things like
food
that.
service for, like, all my life, so
A
yeah.
watched
yay.
pot. It's like It's like, when you're watching the microwave timer go down and a minute seems like a long time, but if you were to put it on and go do something else, it seems like it beeps right away. The same concept.
I'm gonna sit here and watch the popcorn pop. Oh god, it's taking forever. Next bag. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Holy crap, that was like 30 seconds.
It's done
What is
already.
this?
Yeah, it's like a time warp. So yeah, that was a whole tyrant for nothing.
Yep.
Let's jump into some movies. We've got 4 movies coming out this week that seem like they have any sort of substance whatsoever, and I say that very loosely. First one coming out, rated at 41%. This is another Will Ferrell and maybe more accurately, another Kevin Hart movie called Get Hard. This appears to follow Will Ferrell's character as he has to go into prison and he's trying to toughen up before getting, I don't know if committed is the right word, but...
Incarcerated?
Yeah, sure, that one. This is viewer rating of R, so children beware, and a critic rating of 41%. I can say that this will not be on my watch list.
No, thanks.
Will Ferrell just doesn't do it for me.
Hit or miss. Usually miss.
Usually miss. Number 2 coming out this week is a animated movie called Home. This follows an alien who appears to be a bit of a screw-up and comes to Earth and maybe is opened up to mankind a little bit. This is starring Jim Parsons. If you're familiar with Big Bang Theory, he plays Sheldon. Rihanna
Absolutely.
and Steve Martin, along with Jennifer Lopez, are the top 4 in this. This has a critic rating of 39%. This is more likely on the watch list as we'll have the kid this weekend. It might even be a Friday view, but we'll see how that goes. Number 3 this week is a movie titled Serena. This is rated R with a critic rating of a mere 22%. The 3rd installment of a Bradley Cooper-Jennifer Lawrence tag team duo. Movie follows George and Serena Pemberton, who are love-struck newlyweds, who eventually grow an empire in the logging industry, as I'm understanding it. But as their...
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, 22%. But as their empire grows, the paranoia and whatnot set into their marriage and drama ensues. So if you're a fan of Jennifer Lawrence and lovey-dovey sappy movies, by all means, have a good time. Once again, not one for us. If I didn't say, again, this is 22% critic rating. So not awesome. Although I say that, Chappie was rated 20% and we loved it. So maybe it's great. Go see it. Let us know. Finally coming out in the Big 4 this week, and this is a Big 4 by actor-wise. This movie is called While We're Young. This is critic rated at 84%, so pretty darn up there. This is rated R, so check your kids at the door. Amanda Seyfried and Ben Stiller starring in this one, along with Naomi Watts and Adam Driver. This is a comedy of young stars played by Ben Stiller and Naomi Watts, who are a childless family in New York who come across a married couple who they kind of take in but kind of live a different lives, and the two couples kind of open each other up. One is an aspiring documentary filmmaker and looks a little interesting, looks a little bit of like a class system interaction, the well-off and maybe the next generation that's maybe a little more skeptical or whatever. I know that doesn't do the movie any justice, so sue me. I don't care. Again, 84% though, and if you're a fan of Ben Stiller and or Amanda Seyfried, you'll probably have a good time at this. In the box office this week, we have top 4 as follows. Insurgent pulls in $52.3 million. Oh yeah, that's what I did this weekend. I saw that. Cinderella was in number 2 at $35 million. Run All Night, which is the Liam Neeson movie out for a couple weeks now, pulls in $5 million. And The Gunman pulls in $5 million.
You see how forgettable the Insurgent was? He didn't even remember he
What?
saw it.
Huh? I don't remember what I had for breakfast, so I mean, that shouldn't really say much.
You goldfish.
Goldfish for breakfast?
That's a healthy, nutritious breakfast right there.
raw and wiggling.
No, I'm
I would
talking
like to
about
call
the
out to this. Did you get that reference?
No, I
No?
didn't.
Oh,
But
I
just
got it.
It's from
the mental image.
It's from Lord of the Rings with Gollum. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
quick shout out. This last Monday was our mom's birthday. We took her out to dinner, and she and I did see Insurgent on Sunday. Wade did not accompany us because when Divergent came out, he kind of knocked it as being another Twilight love story type movie and opted out. So it's
It
fine.
kind of is.
It kind of is, but it's kind of not.
It's
Insurgent.
kind of not. Yes, it is. Don't make me start this again. This is like Bradley and DRM. It's just not going to go away.
And it's not going to go well for anybody, really.
No.
Get him started. We can both walk away from the mic.
Perfect. And then right when he's done and you come back, he'll mention DRM, and I'll just take a nap.
There you go.
So back to movies. Insurgent. This is the sequel to the Divergent first movie, and I think there might be a third coming. I was a little bit hesitant with this because the critic rating is pretty low. It's at 31% today. A lot of the trailers showed a lot of CG and graphics that thought maybe they were going to go overboard with that and kind of drown out the rest of the movie. I will say that the times where the CG was excessive were parts of the movie that it was easy to accept them as being there. For example, take a virtual reality situation where you know something's not going to be real as a viewer, so you can tolerate something not being portrayed as realistic when it's portrayed. And that's kind of what they did here.
Actually, it's kind of odd considering from the first iteration that we are criticizing the use of special effects when it's a dog disappeared into the ground in the first movie.
Did it?
There was a decent amount of special effects in the first movie.
Yeah, but the trailers show in this one like a whole building exploding and like a room floating up into the sky. Like it was beyond realism, you know?
What the dog I was talking about was her test.
When she was getting tested.
Yeah.
But again, because you knew it was augmented reality or virtual reality for the character, it was easy for you as a viewer to accept those actions.
I'm just saying how the industry is, or the public, whatever, is criticizing it, or may not be criticizing, but giving a low score for the movie because of the use of special effects.
The low score may not be a result of special effects. The concern, though, is that the movie relies on the special effects to run it and not the core story saga, the caliber of acting and whatnot.
Ah.
I will say that the lead actress, Woodley, I think is her last name, that I mentioned in The Fault in Our Stars and whatever, she is fairly dry in this, and a lot of critic ratings did kind of say the same. Even though the character seems like, with some of the script and whatnot, should be very convicted, not convicted, but have a lot of conviction in what they're doing and what they're setting out to, but her portrayal doesn't instill you with a lot of confidence that the character is that.
We're doing this, are we?
Yeah, it's kind of soft-spoken and kind of some uncertainty there. The movie as a whole is very entertaining, and if you like the first one, this won't disappoint. So, I mean, give it a shot, or maybe check out the first one on HBO or Netflix and see if it's your cup of tea.
Or Amazon. Gotta get that in.
Amazon, yeah. Pick it up, check it out on Amazon Prime. I'm sure it's all available. So
that's right. Subscribe to Prime and order some stuff for us.
That's right. Or just through us. I mean, we'll take it too.
That would hurt.
Ow. Use our promo link. God. So literal you are tonight.
I just had to do that one.
Kind of like it, actually.
Whoa.
Hey, Al. Like the literal aspect, not like the...
Whoa.
What are you...
I'm just having fun with you now.
Wow. He is about as red-faced as he could possibly be right
It
now.
is hot. Give me a freaking
He's
break.
laughing. Sorry, guys. That does do it for movies, though, so let's jump into the news. Hello.
Hi.
Hey. So news. Why don't you get the momentum going on this one?
Sure, I can do that.
Fantastic.
We've been talking an awful lot lately about quadcopters.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, so the FAA just released an update to their rules that gives blanket approval for drone use below 200 feet for commercial use, with some asterisks attached. So this does not
Should we expect
speed
anything
up.
else from the FAA? I mean, isn't there like always an asterisk?
Yeah, pretty much.
Asterisk. There we go.
Asterisk.
Yeah, that.
So this new rule covers companies that have already received approval for their commercial drone flights, which is not many. I believe it's somewhere around the 600 mark have applied. Only 45 companies. 53 applications for 45 companies have been approved so far.
I bet a fair amount of those are probably in the cinematography industry, is used for movies instead of, renting helicopters and stuff.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's actually funny, before you get too in depth, is actually, I think, is the ending clip of Insurgent, just bringing this back a little bit. There's a fly-through shot of like this canyon, and to me, if it was a legitimate shot and not all computer generated, it had to have been a drone flying. Some of the spaces it supposedly is flying through, a helicopter wouldn't go. So anyway, just call back to that.
Sure. So under the previous rules, even companies that had been approved by the FAA still had to obtain additional air traffic control authorization for every flight they made.
Oh, wow.
The thing is, this isn't the standard, airliner approval where you get on the radio and you call air traffic control and say, I want to take off, and they say this runway, and you go. For drones, the approval process took on average of about 3 weeks.
Wow.
For each flight that you wanted to do.
You really had to schedule your appointments.
Yes, you did.
So
for those companies that already hold the exemptions from the FAA, this is a wonderful new rule. As long as you're prepared to operate below 200 feet, you now have a blanket license to operate your drone.
That's a start, obviously, and obviously we've made no secrets that there has to be regulations for the sheer quantity of drones that are available now and out there in use. But this ties directly into our good friends over at Amazon. It's been no secret either that they've been wanting to utilize drones for package deliveries, although a lot of concern has been placed on safety and security and privacy given the commercial flights. Well, the FAA finally came back to Amazon, and even though Amazon had requested a 500-foot altitude for flights, FAA came back and said, yeah, no, 400 feet is all you're going to get. And again, this is all for preliminary testing for Amazon. It's not for full use. But the FAA did also state that you must maintain consistent, constant video line of sight with the drone flights.
Which doesn't help the delivery.
It really doesn't, right? I mean, if you've got to sit and watch the drone, aren't you fairly close enough to be able to make the delivery anyway?
Drone flying next to another drone with a camera on the drone with the camera on the
Droneception.
That's right. Put them in front of a mirror and then see what will happen.
I had to do that. I was just like...
So, I mean, we've talked about this previously where the FAA, at one point, Amazon wasn't getting approval, and Amazon said, well, that's fine. We're still going to use drones in places that we can. Well, now they've got the ability to test, although still some very serious stipulations on that.
Well, that's a big step forward, but the other piece of that puzzle, which came out a little later, Amazon released a press release having been given this approval, essentially blasting the FAA. And the reason for it is, while they were grateful that they got this permit, the permits that the FAA are granting for commercial use are essentially miniaturized versions of the permits that they grant for airplanes, which means they're model specific.
Oh, really?
You are now authorized to fly this type of drone commercially. So Amazon came out and said, hey, great, we're so glad that you did this, except we stopped using that model 3 months ago because we made one, and now we have to start over.
Oh, so because the FAA was so specific, like with the airline permits, it is essentially pointless to have for Amazon in this instance.
Correct. So they finally got the certificate authorizing them to test a model that they stopped using months ago. Because, again, don't forget, Amazon is in a test phase. This is a trial. They're iterating on this. You know, it's not the same one week after week. They're finding flaws and weaknesses and redesigning and making it better. So they finally got clearance, and it's not for anything like what they use now.
So it sounds like they need to make a drone and call it the Amazon 1, and every tweak is, Rev 2, Rev 3. But it's still the Amazon 1 drone. It's just, it's point, 1.1, 1.11, 1.2.
Unfortunately, it seems that it is actually that specific. Even those revisions would
qualify for, wouldn't.
Substantially different.
That's depressing for Amazon.
So they came out and said that this would not stop them. They would continue innovating and testing drones, not in America.
Nice. Well, in more talks with Amazon and the government, or the government that alludes to Amazon. Apparently, Amazon remains the only U.S. internet giant in the Fortune 500 who has not disclosed how many demands for data it's received from the government.
I don't know that I want them knowing
But
that I
every
bought a remote control. Sorry. Nothing. I bought nothing.
A solenoid trigger actuated remote firing mechanism for a paintball gun to be put on it. Never mind. So I think it's kind of interesting that, out of the top Fortune 500 companies, and of those Fortune 500 companies, any of the major internet giants, essentially Google, whatnot.
Apple, Microsoft.
I'm not sure if Apple would be construed as an internet giant, but we know that they've disclosed and had some talks about what they've provided the NSA and other government agencies. So it's just kind of interesting, make you scratch your head as to, good on Jeff Bezos over there at Amazon for keeping his mouth shut in some regards, but at the same time, they're still giving the government the data. At least we can assume that they are. And they're just not telling us to what degree or what quantity is actually taking place.
So I wonder how much this matters. Obviously it's nice to know what's going on, but the restrictions that have been placed on these companies as to how vague they have to be, I forget the groupings they have to go in, but it's like they have to group it in 1,000 inquiry lots. So even if you had one, it's I had
between 1 and 1,000.
Between 1 and 1,000 inquiries. It's so vague. I think it's ridiculous that these government agencies consider numbers like that to be classified.
Well, and I guess let's talk about the business aspect of it. Are you more comfortable shopping at Amazon if they don't disclose that they've had 200,000 inquiries to the data sent to the government, or would knowing that they had 200,000 inquiries, would that make you not want to shop at Amazon because of the severity? Or does it even play a factor? Do you care?
I think that's a good question, and one I hadn't really given much thought to.
You know, are they playing a smart business move by keeping their mouth shut to the public versus saying, hey, in the past 6 months, we've had 100,000 hits from the government.
Sure.
And your information may very well be a part of that, you know, that inquiry.
I think well, obviously my first choice is I don't want the government knowing that. Again, everything on Amazon is legal. It's not like I have, you know, I'm hiding what I'm buying on Amazon. But it's, why do you need to know that? So, as far as whether I want to know if they know or not, yeah, I want to know. They know everything about me.
Yeah. So, if you found out, though, would that hinder your shopping at Amazon? Is ignorance bliss? Or would you then try to tip the scale and buy the most extreme things you can just because, haha, take that, government?
Ridiculous things like, I don't know, garbage bags, a shovel, rope, and some lime.
That's right. And zip ties. You got to have zip ties.
Zip ties, yeah.
And they've got to be the orange Caltrans bags. I mean, I don't know what color they are in Indiana, but the running joke at the office.
Biohazard bag.
The running joke at work for some departments was, if you ever had to dispose of a body, you just package up the body parts in those Caltrans bags and just leave them for Caltrans to pick up on the side of the freeway. And
Nice.
there's no traceability to it, and you know, by the time it gets picked up, who knows? But
This doesn't feel like leaves.
so the question is, who's got the orange bags?
This public service announcement.
You see Caltrans bags, avoid at all costs.
We do not condone murder and stuffing body parts into bags and dumping them somewhere.
That's correct. We do not condone that.
Absolutely. Not.
So-
Absolutely
thanks for the
not.
clarification.
Yeah, sorry.
The
Yeah, so
abundance of it.
I'm just kind of curious for the public, you know, and as Amazon, with keeping their mouth shut, are they playing into the you're better off not knowing and ignorance is bliss for our shoppers versus them being scared off by the legitimate reports? And I think it's kind of a valid question, you know. I just don't know how to go about really acquiring the answer.
Sure.
So something to think about.
Well, while we're on the subject of privacy, a company that we discussed several weeks ago in the news.
Well, they wouldn't have popped up in
Again,
this personal
moment.
shenanigans, so I guess it would be the news.
Say that
Well,
again?
we wouldn't have brought them up in the personal bits at the beginning of the podcast, so I would imagine it had to come from the news section.
Well, it could have been in movies.
Unlikely.
A bad movie. We are, of course, talking about our former friends, Radio Shack.
Ah, Radio Shack, yes.
Radio Shack. I don't know if you've been recently. I had the opportunity to go today. I needed some parts for work. And
That's not authorized.
our accounts payable person, your mom, will be extremely pleased with the bill that I'm sending her. Because I got $50 worth of parts for $5.
Nice.
Is that authorized?
Yeah.
What you need to do is
What's
you need
that?
to take a Sharpie to the discount section on the receipt. And then
Right? No. It was totally $50. But so part of their bankruptcy thing, though, if any of our listeners or us have shopped there in the past several years, you will recall when you're checking out, they always try to get your phone number and email address because, you know, warranty or whatever their excuse of the day is.
NSA documentation.
Exactly. A list of the Radio Shack assets for sale include the database of more than 65 million customer names and addresses and 13 million email
Holy
addresses.
crap. A low price of?
No prices were given. I'm sure it's up for auction.
Undisclosed.
And the NSA is jewelry.
Oh, I'm sorry if I read on, the auction is over. Standard General, which is a hedge fund, and Radio Shack's largest shareholder, has bought it. The bankruptcy court still has to approve it, but Radio Shack is facing some legal challenges. The biggest of one being their own privacy policy that says we pride ourselves on not selling our private mailing
Yeah,
list.
but you can't sue them because they got no money to take because they're filing for bankruptcy.
Here's your
And who are you going to sue anyway? The corporate entity no longer exists. Yeah.
So,
It's like the ultimate out.
so aside from the discount that you got at Radio Shack, how was the overall experience?
Very empty.
he walks in.
Literally.
Bradley walks in and goes, "I know more than you."
Well, that's
Yeah,
true.
pretty much.
I mean, that is true. So we have one of
So the entire back half of the store, I mean, they'd even put up, like that yellow caution tape to block it off. It was completely empty. Shelves, furniture, all
Wow.
gone. And then the front third, or the front half, was... they had arranged it fairly well. The computer stuff was still together. The radio frequency stuff was still together. The components were all still together, but there wasn't much left. And everything was a minimum of 85% off.
nice.
Yeah, so...
Well, I had the pleasure, and I use that word sarcastically, of going into
I caught that.
The Radio Shack close to us. It's in the local shopping center. And I was looking for something. I forget what it was. It's probably some sort of a specific cable or something like that. And I noticed that the three people that were working there were all of some Middle Eastern ethnicity. I don't know the countries out there to be able to specify. But I remember one thing one of the guys said that stuck with me. A gal had come in and she asked if one of the guys could help her. And I guess he was off the clock because he said something like either I'm on break or I'm not on the clock, so I don't get paid to help you right now.
Wow.
And that was his
wow.
was his statement. And I think I said it kinder from a tonality standpoint than he did. And I thought, you know what? There's a reason why this company's going bankrupt. And there's a reason why there is a persistent negative perception of people with Middle Eastern background. Especially a lot of them are very egotistical, and rude to that point. Instead of, hey, give me a second, I'll be right with you. No, I don't get paid to help you right now.
I think that's a little bit of a broad brush you're painting with.
It is, and
And,
I'm looking at it through the
we
magnifying
don't
glass of
know
where I
the
am
circumstances. For all we know, these are not the actual Radio Shack employees. These may be the people hired to liquidate.
Here. No, this was. I've
These
seen
might
these
be
guys in there before. They were.
Okay.
They're steady employees, and I realize I'm being very
Generalized.
making a very hasty generalization, just based on
Shame on you.
I know, right? Fallacies left and right. And it's all based on personal views. I mean, I don't walk into a situation holding anything against somebody, but when they prove a stereotype, it's like, well, can't be mad at me. So, anyway, 2 cents there.
No, I think that was more like
Okay,
10.
10 cents. Go buy yourself a Pepsi.
Yeah. You want change?
Sure, yeah. Do you mail me some pennies? That'd be great.
Can you break a 50?
Not in small enough coinage, no. Too good. So we love our technology. We love our cars. We know that Google has been working on this, and now so is our buddy Elon at Tesla. It is rumored, through the wondrous powers of Reddit, that Tesla may very well have self-driving cars in as soon as the next 3 months. Now, I want to make very clear that these are not cars that will be available to the industry, but in the next few months, Tesla will be one step closer to making driverless cars. And I've heard this brought up in other mediums, in that between the self-driving and the electric car, that it's only a matter of a generation or two before people don't own cars anymore. I think you're going to have
So,
these things like Uber and Lyft that now use driverless cars, that you schedule your pickup, you schedule your drop off, and you have, nothing, why have a car beyond that?
car on demand.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're going to an on-demand system for almost everything else.
I'm
If cars get fully automated, and I still maintain that as an if, I could see that making sense.
There's a lot of things that would have to happen with a truly automated car. However, we're not nearly as far away as I think society believes that we are.
So the interesting thing about that story with Tesla and Elon Musk is when they were designing the Tesla, as I understand it, and reading the news reports, they actually had the forethought to build all these sensors into the Tesla.
At the initial design phases, you're saying?
At the initial design phases, yes. All these sensors already exist. This is not a redesign. This is a software update that they will begin turning additional sensors on that already exist in the car.
Yeah, so Elon said on Thursday that the next upgrade to the electric automaker software system, which would allow the Model S sedans that are currently equipped with the latest edition of hardware to drive and steer the car, would be able to do so on their own on major roadways. So this is not specific, designed roads that are optimized for self-driving cars. The software could potentially allow, and it's a direct statement from him on a conference call with reporters, we can basically go between San Francisco and Seattle without the driver doing anything. That's a pretty substantial. That's not going around the corner. That's across a state and almost two.
Yeah, that's a long haul. You know what's missing from this, though? Is legislation that allows it.
Yes. We know that Google's been working on this.
We have some fairly strict laws governing what you can and can't do on the road. I'm not sure that it's going to be as easy as just flipping on a switch and letting it go.
Oh, no, I totally agree. But you also have to look at, aside from the legislation, just looking at technology here. The new BMW i3, the all-electric, stubby-looking, funky, ugly electric car that they have.
Tell us how you really
feel. I think that pretty much sums it up.
Okay.
Its cruise control system, this is pretty cool. I saw this on a podcast today, video podcast. Their cruise control system, if you set it at, say, 80 miles an hour, right? Okay, let's 65 for California. Let's adhere to all the traffic speed laws. It registers the distance in front of your car. Its default setting, or its target setting rather, is 65 miles an hour, whatever you set it to. But if the car in front of you slows down to 50, you don't need to do any adjustment on your own. The car will slow down to that speed to maintain a certain distance from the car in front. If that car then speeds up or moves out of the way, your car will then try to get back up to that target speed unless there's another obstruction at a slower rate that it needs to compensate for. So, obviously that's not a pure driverless function, but you're taking a lot of the driver inputs now out of the equation, and it is actually a tool to better optimize the battery life within those cars.
My hesitation, I think, with this, though, is it's going to be the intermediate period that I think we run the greatest risks in. And we've talked before, I know we've covered it on the show, the hesitations regarding cars versus pedestrians and having the cars make those life and death decisions. I think in the intermediate, if you rule the pedestrian factor out, it's kind of one of those things that having a mix of fully automated cars, or sorry, let me start that again. Having a fully automated car, again, ruling pedestrians out, is obviously safer.
Yes.
Right? The computer is making the decisions, traffic can flow better, all the pros here. Having a fully manual car, obviously we've seen problems with that, but you have to give your attention to driving, right?
Yeah.
The computer's not doing anything for you. You have to give your attention.
Yeah, you are the one responsible.
Correct. The danger zone I've found is in that intermediate
That false sense of
time,
security between the two.
that false sense of security that you get,
Yep.
Relying on the backup camera only and not looking around, relying on the lane change sensors and not watching what you're doing.
Sure.
This intermediate time frame, I think we're going to see more dangerous aspects of driving.
Yeah, you're going to get the systems that don't necessarily work the way that they're intended to, and you're going to get the lax attention span or effort from the human factor.
Exactly. You get lazy.
Yeah, causing lapses in judgment, etc.
No.
And that's not a good thing.
No, that's a good point. That the safest potential situation overall would be a instantaneous global shift where, in theory, and this is obviously hypothetical, it would never work like this in the real world, but one day you're driving your own car and the next day you're in the passenger seat having no input on where you're going aside from, I want to go to this destination.
Right. In terms of machine safety, I could see that being the ultimate. But like we've talked about before, the vehicle is going to have to have some kind of intelligence in it. Well, when a pedestrian steps out onto the roadway and the car has to make that split-second decision where the only place to go is over a cliff, does it run the pedestrian over? Now who's liable for that?
Yeah,
whose fault is that?
That's the biggest issue we've talked about before is the liability in the face of an incident. Whether that's pedestrian or whether that's vehicle to vehicle or whatever. Who's at fault? If you're not driving the car, you don't have any input on what the car is doing, and something happens. Are you at fault because you're the owner? Is the software writer at fault who coded it? Is the automaker at fault because it's their vehicle? That's, from a legal situation, that is the biggest loophole question on the whole thing.
That's where all this legislation comes in.
Yeah.
Well, the legislation, you're right, and I think a lot of it is going to be figured out in the courts.
Yeah. As soon as
it's going to take lawsuits and class actions to figure this out.
Yeah, and the first one is going to be the worst one because no one's going to know who to point the finger at.
It's
Exactly.
We're going to have cases where it's like a hit and run, but the car is still going to, still got to get to the destination.
Yeah.
That's right.
And what do you do as a passenger? You got to reach over and turn the car off in the middle of the road? I mean, I suppose. But, yeah, I don't know. Unless the car is smart enough to say, an incident occurred, the bumper sensor went off on a collision and have to pull over to the side and
police
be able to assess
notified.
it. Yeah. Have it auto call the police.
Do not exit the vehicle.
Yeah.
There's actually kind of a cool system I just kind of had in my mind here. We have Google who are making one of these versions, right?
Yep. Google's working on it.
The Google Maps integration where you could actually schedule, easily. We have Uber, with which you mentioned, the pickup and drop off, but it's a rent-a-car, which is already there. But you're able to use the Google Maps to plan destinations out when you're you could be sitting in a passenger seat and be like, okay, I need to stop by or look up where a grocery store is because, hey, you need to get milk on the way home. And you can, go to say, okay, go to this one, then return home or whatever. Or you could plan in your entire running errand routine.
Well, see, now you play a whole nother logistic issue, right? How many of these cars are available? If you get out of the car, does it go and find a new patron to pick up and you've got to now schedule a new one? Whether you're stopping at the grocery store or you went to the florist to get flowers for your wife or whatever. Now you're sitting on the side of the road waiting for the next car to pull up so you can get a ride home. If you schedule a temporary stop, how long does it wait? You got a whole logistical issue with that now.
Yeah.
Now, if it's your own car, yeah, you're not driving it, but you can have it parked. Okay, wait. You go do your thing. You come out. It's your car. It's there for you. But when it's the car on demand,
Well, yeah.
who takes precedence? You having to make a pit stop or the next guy on the corner waiting for a ride?
Well, I think that could be run kind of taxi-like, though. You know, if you're prepared to pay for the car to sit and wait for
Yeah,
you while
exactly.
you do
Sure.
a 5-minute errand,
Yeah.
It's if,
then it stays yours. Now, if you're not prepared to pay for the car to sit and wait while you run in and do a 2-hour grocery shop, well, then you wait for the next one.
it's,
Yeah.
it's a freemium model, kind of.
The premium
Hey, you wanna
membership
watch ads?
package.
Well, it's you pay for the first one where you'll have to wait, but if you want the deluxe edition where the car stays and and when you hit the
Yep,
thing,
that's gonna cost more.
Yeah,
Yep.
it'll cost more.
Could be interesting.
Instead of an in-app purchase, you'll have an in-car purchase.
That's right.
Yep.
It's all wirelessly tied to Apple Pay. As soon as you get in the car, it hits your account.
Absolutely. RFID as soon as you walk in the door.
Bing. Thank you for your payment.
Where would you like to go?
Just had a picture of Baymax being a car from Big Hero 6.
Are you satisfied with your
Are
driving?
you satisfied with your transportation? We just watched that on Saturday. Since Wade hadn't seen it, we picked up the DVD, and Wade got to see Big Hero 6.
It's definitely a good movie.
It is. It
I
is.
still say the How to Train Your Dragon movies are better.
See, I'm not the only one. Ha!
You guys, you know what? You're entitled
To
to
your
your
wrong
opinion,
opinion.
even
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they're
yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Okay, Adam.
That's a Mythbusters reference for those who don't know.
Yes, it is.
Very good. Well, I think we covered some pretty leading topics today and maybe touched on a few decent issues.
I would much rather have Toothless than a white balloon robot.
Even if you can fly and you can ride him.
I can
And
ride
he has a
Toothless
rocket.
anyway.
And he has a rocket punch.
Toothless can go ultraviolet.
Yeah, but Baymax has defibrillators in his hands. And he warms up like a warm marshmallow.
If I need anything warm, I can have Toothless light the fireplace. Screw you.
This debate, in theory, could go on for quite a while. So
Yes, it could.
we once again would like to thank our listeners for joining us. And hey, don't forget, we do have that Amazon link at the bottom of not every podcast anymore. It is on the website and on Facebook. So if you're doing your shopping, click that link. We get a little piece of the action. So helps us out.
And if you found us on iTunes, definitely leave a review, rate us, and follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/abundance.naught. And we are on Twitter at AbundanceNaught.
With that, we'll see you guys next week.
Keep on gaming.
That's a wrap.